Beneath our feet, hidden in shadows and silence, lie worlds untouched by time, where the echoes of ancient rulers still linger in the air. Picture this, your footsteps echoing through narrow, winding tunnels, the walls adorned with symbols carved by hands that vanished centuries ago. This isn't just a journey underground, it's a descent into the heart of history itself, where the buried secrets of lost civilizations wait to be rediscovered. These legendary hidden catacombs aren't merely tombs, they're time capsules preserving the legacies of kings, queens, and emperors whose stories were meant to endure forever. And today, we're stepping into their realm. What if I told you that beneath the bustling cities and quiet countryside, entire kingdoms of the dead slumber in ornate chambers, their treasures and tales sealed away? From the labyrinthine passages beneath Rome, where early Christians sought refuge, to the opulent burial vaults of Egypt's pharaohs, these catacombs are more than just resting places. They're monuments to power, belief, and the human obsession with immortality. Each stone, each carving, whispers clues about the lives of those who ruled and the worlds they left behind. How did these rulers choose their final resting places? What rituals and treasures accompanied them into the afterlife? And why do these underground sanctuaries still hold such a grip on our imagination? This is more than an exploration of ancient architecture. It's a detective story, piecing together the fragments of history to uncover truths long buried. As we venture deeper, you'll discover how these catacombs shaped empires, inspired legends, and even influenced the course of history itself. Some were built to intimidate, others to protect, and a few to conceal secrets so profound they've eluded discovery for millennia. So join me as we peel back the layers of time, revealing the astonishing stories of the legendary hidden catacombs and the rulers who still command them from beyond the grave. The past is waiting, and it's far more alive than you might think. There's something undeniably magnetic about stepping into the darkness of these ancient underground chambers, where the air feels heavier, the silence deeper, and every shadow seems to hold a secret. What is it about hidden catacombs that captures our imagination so completely? Perhaps it's the way they defy time, preserving moments of history in perfect stillness, untouched by the world above. Or maybe it's the thrill of uncovering something meant to stay hidden, like deciphering a message meant for another era. These labyrinths aren't just tombs, they're galleries of the past, their walls adorned with frescoes, inscriptions, and symbols that tell stories of rulers who demanded eternity. Take the catacombs of Rome, for example. Beneath the modern city's bustling streets, early Christians carved out miles of tunnels, not just to bury their dead, but to create sacred spaces where they could worship in secret. The walls are covered with delicate artwork, faded paintings of saints, biblical scenes, and symbols like the fish or the anchor, each one a silent testament to faith under persecution. Then there's the Capuchin crypt, where the bones of thousands were arranged into hauntingly beautiful displays, a macabre yet mesmerizing reminder of mortality. These spaces weren't just functional, they were declarations of belief designed to inspire awe even in death, but the allure goes deeper than art or religion. Many catacombs were built to safeguard treasures, both material and spiritual. In Egypt, the Valley of the Kings was a carefully guarded necropolis, its entrances hidden to protect the riches buried with the pharaohs. Yet even these precautions couldn't stop tomb robbers or later archaeologists from uncovering golden sarcophagi, intricate jewelry, and scrolls filled with spells meant to guide the dead to the afterlife. And in China, the sprawling underground mausoleum of Emperor Qin Shi Huang remains partially unexplored, its terracotta army standing watch over mysteries we've yet to fully understand. What makes these places so compelling is their duality. They're both monuments and vaults, celebrating life while guarding the secrets of death. Every carving, every artifact, every carefully placed bone is a clue to the values of the people who built them. They reveal how societies viewed power, the divine, and the great unknown beyond this life. And for us, they offer a rare chance to walk in the footsteps of those who came before, to touch the walls they touched, and to wonder, if these stones could speak, what stories would they tell? The deeper we go, the more we realize that history isn't just written in books, it's buried beneath us, waiting to be rediscovered. Beneath the golden sands of Egypt, where the sun bakes the earth into an endless expanse of dust and mystery, the Valley of the Kings is merely a single chapter in an epic tale of hidden burial grounds. While the pyramids dominate our imagination, the true scale of Egypt's subterranean secrets stretches far beyond these iconic monuments. Imagine vast networks of tunnels, some still sealed and unexplored, winding beneath the desert like veins beneath skin, each one leading to chambers where pharaohs and nobles were entombed with unimaginable riches. The discovery of the so-called lost Golden City near Luxor in recent years shattered the assumption that Egypt had given up all its secrets. This sprawling settlement, buried for over 3,000 years, proved that even in a land endlessly studied, the past still has surprises to reveal. What's fascinating about these underground complexes isn't just their contents, it's the sheer ingenuity behind their design. Ancient engineers didn't just dig tombs, they crafted elaborate decoys to outwit thieves. False corridors that lead to dead ends, hidden doors concealed behind intricate carvings, and even traps meant to deter intruders. These were the defenses of rulers determined to protect their eternal slumber. Yet for all their cunning, many tombs were still breached, their treasures looted centuries ago. The story of Tutankhamun's undisturbed resting place is the exception, not the rule. His glittering sarcophagus and golden artifacts, discovered nearly intact, offered a rare glimpse into what these burial chambers might have looked like before robbers stripped them bare. But the question lingers, how many more tombs lie hidden, their entrances swallowed by shifting sands or deliberately erased from history? Some archaeologists believe entire dynasties may still be waiting underground, their stories untold. The tomb of Nefertiti, for instance, remains one of Egyptology's most tantalizing mysteries. Could her final resting place be concealed behind a false wall in the Valley of the Kings, as some theories suggest? Or might she lie elsewhere, in a chamber yet to be uncovered? And what of the lesser-known nobles and officials whose tombs, though smaller, could hold equally valuable insights into daily life, trade, and governance in ancient Egypt? The allure of these undiscovered spaces isn't just about gold or jewels, it's about context. Every intact tomb is a time capsule, preserving not only the dead but the world they inhabited. Food offerings left to sustain the deceased, scrolls filled with spells from the Book of the Dead, even the remnants of funeral feasts. All these fragments help piece together the rituals and beliefs that shaped an empire. The recent use of ground-penetrating radar and other non-invasive technologies has opened new possibilities, allowing researchers to peer beneath the earth without disturbing what lies below. Perhaps the most striking thing about Egypt's hidden catacombs is how they reflect the paradox of ancient burial practices, the desperate desire for permanence in a world where nothing lasts. The pharaohs built tombs to endure forever, yet time and human greed have worn many away. Still, the sand holds its secrets close, and with each new discovery, we're reminded that history is never truly finished. Somewhere beneath the dunes, another chamber waits, its door sealed for millennia, ready to rewrite what we thought we knew. Beneath the modern chaos of Rome, where tourists crowd the Colosseum and scooters zip through cobblestone streets, an entirely different city lies in wait, a silent, sprawling labyrinth of tunnels where the early Christians buried their dead. The catacombs of Rome aren't just burial sites, they're a testament to a time when faith was practiced in shadows, and the city's very foundations became a canvas for devotion. Take the Catacombs of Domitilla, one of the largest and oldest, its passageways stretching over 10 miles. Here, the walls are lined with thousands of niches, each one once cradling a body wrapped in linen, a tradition borrowed from Jewish burial customs. But what's truly striking aren't just the tombs, it's the art. Faded frescoes of biblical scenes, like Daniel in the lion's den or Jonah swallowed by the whale, adorn the corridors, their colors still faintly visible after centuries. These weren't mere decorations, they were declarations of hope, reminders of resurrection painted by hands that risked persecution. Then there's the Catacombs of San Callisto, named after the deacon who oversaw them in the 3rd century. This underground network became the final resting place for early popes, martyrs, and even ordinary families who pooled their resources to secure a burial space. The Crypt of the Popes, a small chamber within San Callisto, held 9 pontiffs, men who led the fledgling Christian community during some of its most dangerous years. But it's not just the famous who rest here. Walk these tunnels and you'll find humble inscriptions scratched into the walls, a baker's name, a child's epitaph, a plea for prayers. These quiet voices, preserved in stone, tell a story far richer than any history book, a story of community, resilience, and the quiet defiance of a people who refuse to let death erase their faith. What's often overlooked is how these catacombs functioned as more than cemeteries. They were places of worship, pilgrimage, and even refuge during times of persecution. Hidden chambers served as makeshift chapels where believers gathered to celebrate the Eucharist, their whispers echoing off the same walls that held their dead. The tunnels themselves were designed to confuse outsiders, with twisting paths and dead ends meant to deter Roman authorities. And then there are the symbols, the fish, the anchor, the Cairo, each one a coded message of solidarity among Christians. To modern eyes, they might seem like simple drawings, but to those who carved them, they were lifelines, a way to say, "You are not alone." Yet for all we know, mysteries still linger in the darkness. Some passages remain unexplored, their contents hidden by collapsed debris or deliberately sealed off. Who might lie in those forgotten chambers? Forgotten saints, nobles who converted in secret, or perhaps treasures buried in haste like the rumored lost relics of early martyrs. Even today, new discoveries emerge, a previously unknown fresco, a hidden chamber, an inscription that changes how we understand this underground world. The catacombs remind us that history is never static. It's a puzzle with pieces still waiting to be found. And as long as their corridors stretch unseen beneath Rome's streets, they'll keep drawing us back, whispering of faith, courage, and the unyielding human desire to be remembered. The story of China's hidden imperial tombs is one of ambition, paranoia, and engineering brilliance, where emperors didn't just bury their treasures but designed entire underground worlds to defy both thieves and time itself. At the heart of this mystery lies the mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor to unite China, whose burial complex sprawls across an area larger than some ancient cities. While the terracotta army has captivated the world, standing in silent rows for over 2,000 years, these life-sized clay warriors are merely the outer guard of something far grander. Beneath them, sealed beneath layers of earth and legend, lies the emperor's untouched tomb, a place so shrouded in secrecy that even now, scientists tread carefully, weighing curiosity against caution. Historical records describe a subterranean palace filled with wonders, ceilings inlaid with pearls to mimic the night sky, rivers and lakes of shimmering mercury, and crossbows rigged to fire at intruders. The ancient historian Sima Qian wrote of artisans and workers buried alive to protect the tomb's secrets, their silence ensuring no one could reveal its layout. Modern tests have detected unusually high levels of mercury in the soil above the tomb, lending eerie credibility to these tales. But the real question isn't just what's inside, it's why the Chinese government, even with today's technology, refuses to excavate. Some say it's respect for the dead, others whisper of lingering fears of curses, of unleashing something best left undisturbed. Then there's the tomb of Emperor Wu of the Han Dynasty, another ruler whose resting place remains sealed. Legends speak of jade burial suits stitched with gold thread, meant to grant immortality, and chambers filled with texts that could rewrite our understanding of ancient Chinese philosophy. But like Qin Shi Huang's tomb, it's protected by more than just earth. Cultural taboos run deep. Many believe disturbing these sites would bring misfortune, a belief reinforced by the fate of early 20th century archaeologists who allegedly fell ill after opening imperial graves. Even now, non-invasive techniques like ground-penetrating radar and drone mapping are preferred, offering glimpses without intrusion. What makes these tombs so tantalizing is the paradox they represent, built to last forever, yet designed to never be seen. Every unopened chamber is a locked door to the past, holding answers about medicine, astronomy, and governance that could reshape history. Imagine the scrolls that might lie preserved in airtight vaults, or the artifacts that could reveal lost technologies. But until science can guarantee their preservation, and until society makes peace with the ethics of excavation, these tombs will keep their secrets, leaving us to wonder what truths or terrors might lie waiting in the dark. Medieval Europe's crypts hold stories of kings and queens who believed their power would transcend death only to vanish into the shadows of history. Take the Capuchin Catacombs of Palermo, where hundreds of mummified bodies, dressed in their finest garments, stare blankly from the walls. Among them lies Rosalia Lombardo, a 2-year-old girl whose perfectly preserved face, still rosy-cheeked after a century, seems to defy time itself. But these macabre displays weren't just about preservation, they were statements of status. Wealthy families paid dearly to have their loved ones displayed here, their eternal rest becoming a public spectacle of earthly influence. Beneath London's Westminster Abbey, a different kind of secret lies hidden. The Abbey's labyrinth of vaults holds the remains of monarchs like Edward the Confessor, whose shrine became a pilgrimage site, and Elizabeth I, buried alongside her rival Mary, Queen of Scots, in an uneasy posthumous truce. Yet for every royal tomb still honored, there are those that disappeared entirely. Richard Roman III skeleton, famously unearthed beneath a Leicester parking lot in 2012, tells a stark tale of how quickly glory fades. Once buried with pomp in Greyfriars Church, his grave was lost after the Reformation, his bones scattered until a team of archaeologists pieced together his fate 5 centuries later. What's striking about these crypts is how they mirror the contradictions of medieval Europe. Grand ambitions built on fragile foundations. Kings commissioned elaborate chantry chapels where priests would sing masses for their souls in perpetuity, only for those same chapels to be dismantled during Henry Roman VIII dissolution of the monasteries. In Prague, the royal crypt beneath St. Vitus Cathedral houses the ornate sarcophagus of Charles Roman IV, his remains surrounded by relics and jewels. But just a few miles away, the forgotten crypts of lesser nobles crumble beneath modern apartment buildings, their inscriptions worn smooth by time. The real mystery isn't just who's buried in these places, it's who might still be waiting to be found. Beneath Vienna's Stephansdom, catacombs stacked with bones include a sealed chamber rumored to hold the heart of a Habsburg emperor. In Spain, the monastery of San Lorenzo de El Escorial hides a vault known as the Pudredero, where royal bodies were left to decompose before their bones could be placed in gilded urns. And then there are the lost graves, like that of Alfred the Great, whose final resting place remains one of England's great historical puzzles. These crypts are more than stone and dust. They're mirrors reflecting the fears and hopes of an age that saw death not as an end but a transition. Every crumbling fresco, every misplaced coffin whispers the same question. If even kings can be forgotten, what does that mean for the rest of us? Perhaps that's why we keep searching, not just for gold or fame, but for the chance to hear the past speak, even if only in echoes. Beneath the elegant boulevards and bustling cafes of Paris, a shadow world stretches for miles, a labyrinth of tunnels lined with the bones of 6 million souls. The Catacombs of Paris aren't just an ossuary, they're a haunting monument to the city's turbulent past, where history and mystery intertwine in the darkness. The story begins in the late 18th century when Paris's cemeteries overflowed, their stench permeating the streets and even seeping into basement walls. Authorities made a radical decision: excavate the city's abandoned limestone quarries and relocate the dead underground. But what started as a practical solution became something far more surreal. Skulls and femurs were meticulously stacked into macabre patterns, forming walls of skeletal remains that stretch as far as the eye can see. Among these anonymous bones lie fragments of France's most notorious figures. The revolutionaries who toppled the monarchy, the philosophers who sparked the Enlightenment, even victims of the guillotine, all were quietly interred here, their identities erased by time. But the catacombs hold more than bones. Hidden chambers, some discovered only by accident, reveal traces of clandestine gatherings. One such room, found in 2004, contained a fully equipped cinema, chairs, a projector, and even a stocked bar, all buried nearly 90 feet below street level. Who built it? How long was it used? The answers remain as elusive as the tunnels themselves. Then there's the legend of Philibert Aspert, a doorkeeper who ventured into the catacombs in 1793 and never emerged. His mummified body was found 11 years later, just steps from an exit, identification still in his pocket. Was he a victim of the labyrinth's disorienting twists or something more sinister? Even today, urban explorers known as cataphiles sneak into forbidden sections, mapping uncharted passages and occasionally stumbling upon relics. A smuggler's stash from World War II, a sculptor's workshop carved from the rock, or cryptic symbols left by secret societies. What makes the Paris catacombs so compelling isn't just their scale, it's their duality. They're both a public memorial and a forbidden zone, a place where the city confronts its mortality yet keeps its deepest secrets locked away. Archaeologists estimate that less than 1% of the tunnels have been thoroughly studied, leaving vast stretches unexplored. Could undiscovered chambers hold lost treasures from the French Revolution, forgotten burial sites of medieval plague victims, or perhaps evidence of the occult rituals rumored to have taken place in these depths? The catacombs refuse to give up their mysteries easily, reminding us that beneath the city of light, darkness has its own stories to tell. High in the cloud-shrouded peaks of the Andes, where the air thins and the earth seems to touch the sky, the Inca and their predecessors carved secrets into the very bones of the mountains. These weren't just tombs, they were portals to the otherworld, hidden so meticulously that many remain untouched even today. Take the recent discovery in Peru's Chachapoyas region, where archaeologists uncovered a cliffside burial chamber adorned with intricate carvings and remnants of gold. The tomb, perched like an eagle's nest on a sheer rock face, was designed to be reached only by ropes or precarious scaffolding, a deliberate challenge to any who dared disturb the sleep of the elite. But here's the astonishing part. This might be just one of dozens still waiting in the mist-covered valleys of the Andes or the tangled green depths of the Amazon. What's striking about these subterranean royal tombs isn't just their remoteness, it's their defiance. The Inca and earlier cultures like the Chachapoya didn't just bury their dead, they engineered puzzles to outlast time itself. Some tombs were built into active fault lines, their builders trusting seismic shifts to seal them forever. Others were concealed behind waterfalls or camouflaged with vegetation, their entrances known only to a select few. The famous Puran Machu tombs of the Chachapoya, for instance, cling to cliffs like swallows' nests, their facades painted with ochre and white stripes visible only from certain angles. These weren't mere hiding places, they were statements. By placing their rulers in realms halfway between earth and heaven, the living declared their leader's divinity untouchable even in death. Yet for all their ingenuity, these tombs held more than bodies. The Chachapoya buried their elite with Puran-Machus, life-sized sarcophagi shaped like human figures, each one staring blankly across the valleys as if guarding the horizon. Inside, the dead were wrapped in layers of textiles surrounded by offerings, spondylus shells from distant oceans, pottery filled with chicha beer, even sacrificed llamas, their bones still arranged in careful circles. These weren't just grave goods, they were provisions for a journey, clues to a cosmology where death was just another kind of voyage. The real mystery, though, lies in what we haven't found. Spanish chronicles speak of a legendary Inca tomb so rich that its discovery would dim the sun with gold, but its location died with the nobles who built it. Then there's the rumored necropolis of the Moch, a civilization that flourished centuries before the Inca, whose lords were buried with masks of beaten gold and cups of human blood. Could their undiscovered tombs still lie beneath the shifting dunes of northern Peru? With LiDAR technology now revealing hidden structures beneath jungle canopies, archaeologists are closer than ever to answers, yet the mountains keep their secrets well. Every undiscovered chamber is a locked door to a lost worldview, a chance to hear the whispers of cultures that shaped a continent. And as long as the Andes stand, those whispers will keep calling us upward, into the clouds where the dead still watch over the living. The whispers surrounding the Knights Templars' hidden vaults have echoed through centuries, growing louder with each generation of treasure hunters and historians who dare to chase them. Picture this beneath the worn flagstones of Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland, where intricate carvings of maize, a plant unknown to Europe at the time of its construction, hint at secrets beyond our understanding, lies a network of chambers rumored to hold the Templars' most sacred relics. Or consider the crumbling tunnels beneath Acre, Israel, where the order made its last stand in the 13th century. These passageways, slick with damp and littered with Crusader-era debris, are said to conceal not just gold but something far more valuable: the lost archives of the Templars, possibly containing esoteric knowledge or even evidence of their legendary discoveries in the Holy Land. What fuels these legends isn't just greed for treasure. It's the Templars' own mystique. As bankers, warriors, and scholars, they amassed wealth and influence that rivaled kings, only to vanish almost overnight when the order was disbanded in the 14th century. Their sudden fall left a vacuum filled with speculation. Where did their riches go? Did they smuggle their treasures into hidden catacombs before their arrest? The most tantalizing clue comes from the trial records of the Templars, where some knights under interrogation cryptically referenced vaults known only to the initiated. Were these literal chambers or metaphorical secrets? The ambiguity only deepens the mystery. Then there's the enigma of the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, where the Templars first excavated beneath the ruins of Solomon's Temple. Medieval chronicles claim they found something there, something so profound it transformed the order. Could whatever they unearthed still lie hidden in a forgotten vault beneath Europe? Modern technology has renewed the hunt. Ground-penetrating radar surveys at sites like Toma in Portugal, a former Templar stronghold, have revealed anomalies in the bedrock hollow spaces that match historical descriptions of their secret storerooms. Yet no excavation has been permitted, leaving these shadows unexplored. The allure of these legends isn't just about gold or artifacts. It's about the possibility of rediscovering a lost chapter of history, one that might rewrite our understanding of the medieval world. Whether these vaults hold sacred relics like the Ark of the Covenant, as some fantasize, or simply the mundane records of a persecuted order, their discovery would shatter myths and confirm truths long debated. Until then, the tunnels remained silent, guarding their secrets as faithfully as the Templars themselves once did. Scattered across Japan's landscapes like silent sentinels, the coffin tombs rise from the earth in perfect, enigmatic symmetry, their keyhole shapes carved into the terrain with almost otherworldly precision. These aren't just burial mounds, they're colossal statements of power, some stretching over 1,500 feet in length, dwarfing even the pyramids in sheer footprint. Built between the 3rd and 7th centuries, they mark the graves of Japan's earliest emperors and elite, their interiors shielded by layers of earth and centuries of reverence. What's astonishing isn't just their scale, it's how little we truly know about them. Unlike the plundered tombs of Egypt or the excavated crypts of Europe, the majority of coffin remain sealed, their secrets intact, protected not just by law but by a cultural reluctance to disturb the sleep of the dead. Take the Daisen coffin in Osaka, the largest of them all. This sprawling, moss-covered monument is traditionally attributed to Emperor Nintoku, though no one can say for certain. The tomb's inner chambers have never been opened to modern archaeology, leaving historians to rely on ancient texts and the rare fragments recovered from smaller, less protected coffin. These fragments hint at astonishing riches: intricate bronze mirrors forged in distant China, jade jewels traded from Korea, and Haniwa figurines terracotta statues of warriors, dancers, and animals that once stood guard around the mound. But the real treasures likely lie deeper in the untouched heart of the tombs. Could they hold written records predating Japan's oldest surviving texts? Or evidence of connections to kingdoms now lost to time? The mystery deepens when you consider the coffin's design. The keyhole shape, unique to Japan, has no clear parallel in other ancient cultures. Some scholars believe it represents a fusion of spiritual symbols: the circle for the heavens, the square for earth, creating a bridge between worlds. Others suggest it mimics the shape of a bell or even a rice granary, tying the ruler's authority to agriculture and prosperity. What's undeniable is the precision involved. The mounds were aligned with celestial events, their orientations tracking the sun's path with an accuracy that speaks of advanced astronomical knowledge. Were these tombs meant to guide the dead to the afterlife, or to anchor their power eternally to the land they once ruled? Yet for all their grandeur, the coffin face an uncertain future. Preservation efforts clash with urban expansion, and the mound's sheer size makes them difficult to protect. In 2019, a typhoon exposed ancient stone coffins near one coffin, revealing how vulnerable these sites are to nature's whims. Meanwhile, the imperial household agency strictly controls access to the tombs, citing their sacred status. This has sparked debate. Should science prevail, or does respect for tradition outweigh the pursuit of knowledge? Some argue that non-invasive technologies like LiDAR could unlock answers without excavation, while others fear even scanning the tombs might violate spiritual taboos. The coffins stand at a crossroads between past and present, their secrets weighing heavy in the balance. Every unopened mound is a locked archive, potentially holding clues to Japan's formative years, the rise of its imperial line, the origins of Shinto rituals, even early contact with the Asian mainland. But they also represent something deeper, a cultural choice to let some mysteries remain. Perhaps the greatest lesson of the coffin isn't what they hide, but what they remind us about history itself. That not every door needs to be opened, and sometimes the most profound respect we can offer the past is to let it rest. Beneath the bustling streets of modern Istanbul, where the calls to prayer echo between minarets and the scent of spices lingers in the air, an entire underground world lies forgotten, a labyrinth of tunnels, cisterns, and crypts that once formed the hidden veins of Byzantium. The most famous of these, the Basilica Cistern, is just the tip of the iceberg. This vast underground reservoir, with its forest of marble columns rising from dark waters, was built by Emperor Justinian in the 6th century to quench the thirst of a growing empire. But what few realize is that the cistern isn't just an engineering marvel, it's a clue. Its walls connect to a network of uncharted passages, some rumored to lead to the lost burial chambers of Byzantine rulers, their locations erased by time and conquest. The mystery deepens when you consider the fate of Constantinople's imperial tombs. Historical records describe lavish mausoleums attached to churches like the Holy Apostles, where emperors from Constantine the Great onward were laid to rest in sarcophagi of porphyry and gold. But after the Ottoman conquest in 1453, these monuments vanished, not destroyed, but swallowed by the city itself. Some scholars believe the tombs were deliberately concealed, their entrances bricked up or buried beneath new construction to protect them from looting. Others speculate that earthquakes or centuries of urban development simply obscured them, leaving their treasures intact but invisible. Then there are the whispers of the Yorubatan Sonasai, another subterranean wonder nearby. Local legends speak of a sealed doorway in its farthest corner, one that hasn't been opened in living memory. Could it lead to a forgotten annex or even to the rumored Chamber of the Eagle, where Byzantine emperors were said to store their most sacred relics? The truth is, we may never know. Modern archaeologists are treading carefully, balancing curiosity with preservation. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed anomalies beneath the cistern's floor, but excavating here is like navigating a minefield of history. One wrong move could collapse a tunnel or damage artifacts untouched for a millennium. What makes these lost catacombs so tantalizing isn't just the potential for gold or jewels, it's the stories they could tell. Imagine uncovering a sarcophagus inscribed with the lost history of the Palaiologos dynasty, or a trove of manuscripts preserving Byzantine accounts of the Crusades. Even the graffiti scrawled on tunnel walls by medieval workers might offer glimpses into daily life during the empire's twilight. Every inch of these underground labyrinths is a palimpsest, layer upon layer of history waiting to be read. But the greatest enigma remains the fate of the emperors themselves. Their bones, if they still rest beneath Istanbul, are more than relics. They're symbols of a civilization that bridged east and west, a 1,000-year empire that shaped the modern world. To find them would be to reclaim a piece of that legacy, to hear the echoes of Byzantium rise from the shadows at last. Until then, the city keeps its secrets, hidden beneath the footsteps of millions who walk above, unaware of the kings sleeping beneath their feet. When we think of Viking burials, our minds often leap to the dramatic image of a dragon-proud ship set ablaze and pushed out to sea, a fitting send-off for warriors bound for Valhalla. But beneath the windswept hills of Scandinavia, another kind of burial lies hidden, one just as rich with history and meaning. These underground chambers, carved from stone or earth, were the final resting places of Viking elites who sought a different path to the afterlife. Unlike the fiery spectacle of ship burials, these tombs were designed for permanence, their entrances marked by towering runestones etched with messages meant to endure. Take the recent discovery at Jelling in Denmark, where archaeologists uncovered a previously unknown burial mound linked to King Gorm the Old. Inside, they found not a ship but a carefully constructed wooden chamber, its walls lined with intricate carvings of serpents and gods. This was no simple grave. It was a statement of power, a physical bridge between the earthly realm and the mythic halls of the dead. Nearby runestones told the story of the king's lineage, ensuring his name would echo through generations. But what's truly remarkable is how many more of these chambers might still lie undiscovered. Ground surveys in Sweden's upland region have revealed anomalies suggesting entire networks of tombs beneath fields and forests, their locations preserved only in folklore. These hidden chambers weren't just about prestige, they were portals. The Vikings believed that the dead could travel between worlds, and the tombs were built to facilitate that journey. Some contained ghost doors, small openings in the walls meant to allow spirits to pass freely. Others were aligned with celestial events like the winter solstice sunrise, bathing the interior in light on specific days. At the Osberg burial in Norway, excavators found not just human remains but a trove of ritual objects, sledges, tapestries, even the bones of sacrificed animals, all provisions for the afterlife. The real mystery, though, lies in the gaps in our knowledge. Written records from the Viking Age are scarce, and many tombs were looted centuries ago, their stories scattered. But modern technology offers hope. LiDAR scans in Iceland have uncovered subtle earthworks that may mark the boundaries of forgotten burial sites, while soil analysis in Norway has detected traces of iron and textiles, hints of graves untouched beneath the surface. Could one of these hidden chambers hold the remains of a figure like Ragnar Lothbrok, whose legend outlasted his life? Or might they reveal truths about Viking society that contradict the sagas? Perhaps the most haunting thought is how intentionally some of these tombs were lost. Unlike the pyramids or the coffin, built to awe, many Viking chambers were designed to fade into the landscape, their markers weathered or removed. It's as if the dead and the living who buried them wanted the earth itself to keep their secrets. But as long as the Nordic soil holds these echoes of the past, the search will continue, driven by the same question that fueled the Vikings themselves: what lies beyond the horizon waiting to be found? Beneath the sun-scorched plains and crumbling ruins of India's ancient cities, a silent network of royal tombs waits in darkness, some celebrated, others swallowed by the earth and forgotten. Take the stepwells of Gujarat, for instance. These towering, subterranean structures weren't just feats of engineering to withstand droughts. They doubled as secret burial sites for regional kings, their chambers concealed behind cascading staircases that descend like inverted pyramids into the ground. The Rani Kai Vav, a UNESCO-listed marvel, hides more than intricate carvings of deities beneath its lowest levels. Sealed passages may lead to the lost tombs of the Solanki dynasty, their existence hinted at in faded palm leaf manuscripts but never confirmed. Then there's Hampi, the sprawling ruins of the Vijayanagara Empire, where boulder-strewn landscapes camouflage a startling secret, underground crypts designed to mimic the cosmos. Local legends speak of a royal mausoleum carved beneath Matanga Hill, its entrance disguised as a natural rock formation. Inside, the walls are said to shimmer with gold leaf, depicting astrological maps that guided kings to the afterlife. But here's the twist: no modern explorer has found it. The clues lie in cryptic verses from the Amuktamaliada, a 16th century epic that describes a chamber where the stars touch stone. Yet the precise location remains one of India's great archaeological riddles. What makes these tombs so elusive isn't just time, it's intentional secrecy. Unlike Egypt's pyramids or Rome's catacombs, many Indian royal burials were never meant to be monumental. The Mughals, for example, built grand mausoleums like the Taj Mahal, but earlier dynasties often opted for hidden vaults to deter looters. The Ahom kings of Assam buried their rulers in unmarked mounds along the Brahmaputra River, their graves vanishing under seasonal floods. In Rajasthan, the Rathore clan allegedly sealed their dead within the labyrinthine fortifications of Jaisalmer, turning entire citadel walls into covert necropolises. Even today, farmers occasionally stumble upon ornate sarcophagi while ploughing fields, only for local authorities to quietly cordon off the area, a reminder that the past isn't always willing to give up its dead. The real breakthrough could come from technology. In 2019, researchers using LiDAR uncovered a previously unknown chamber beneath Odisha's Konark Sun Temple, its walls lined with inscriptions about the Eastern Ganga dynasty. Meanwhile, thermal imaging at Bidar Fort in Karnataka revealed anomalies suggesting a network of tunnels possibly leading to the long-lost tombs of the Bahmani sultans. But challenges persist. Ancient texts often describe locations using obsolete landmarks or poetic metaphors, leaving archaeologists to decode phrases like "where the peacock meets the dawn" or "beneath the hill of seven sighs." And then there are the ethical dilemmas. Should tombs mentioned in sacred texts, like the rumored resting place of the legendary King Vikramaditya, be disturbed at all? These hidden chambers are more than archaeological curiosities. They're windows into how India's rulers viewed power, mortality, and legacy. A tomb might hold not just jewels or bones, but palm leaf scrolls preserving lost languages, or artifacts proving trade links with Rome or Cambodia. Every undiscovered vault is a missing puzzle piece in the subcontinent's grand narrative. And as long as the Earth guards its secrets, the hunt will continue. One whispered legend, one scanning drone, one accidental discovery at a time. Africa's buried kingdoms hold secrets that could rewrite history, if only the Earth would yield them. While the pyramids of Egypt dominate global imagination, the continent's lesser-known royal catacombs are treasure troves of untold stories. In Ethiopia's highlands, the ancient city of Aksum conceals monolithic stelae marking underground tombs where rulers were buried with gold, ivory, and artifacts hinting at trade networks stretching to Rome and India. But here's the startling truth: fewer than 10% of these tombs have been properly excavated. The rest remain sealed, their contents shielded by layers of soil and time, waiting for the moment when modern tools and curiosity finally pierce their darkness. Then there's Great Zimbabwe, the sprawling stone ruins that once anchored a wealthy medieval kingdom. While its towering walls have been studied for decades, local legends insist the real heart of the city lies beneath a labyrinth of chambers where kings were interred with copper ingots and Chinese porcelain. Ground-penetrating radar surveys in 2018 revealed anomalies consistent with man-made voids, but political and logistical hurdles have delayed further exploration. What if these hidden spaces hold the missing records of a civilization that mastered goldsmithing and astronomy centuries before European contact? The silence of these unopened tombs taunts historians, offering glimpses of a past just out of reach. Even in Egypt, where archaeologists have scoured the desert for generations, discoveries still defy expectations. Take the sunken city of Heracleion, submerged for over 1,000 years until marine archaeologists uncovered its temples and statues in the murky depths of the Mediterranean. Among the ruins lay a cluster of undisturbed sarcophagi, a proof that water, like Earth, can guard royal secrets indefinitely. Could similar underwater necropolises await discovery off the coasts of Tanzania or Mozambique, where Swahili rulers traded with Persian and Arab merchants? The possibility lingers, as tantalizing as it is uncharted. The greatest enigma, though, might lie in the Sahel. Oral traditions from Mali speak of the Mansa's vault, a hidden chamber beneath the sands where the wealth of Mansa Musa, history's richest man, was stashed alongside his remains. While Timbuktu's libraries have yielded medieval manuscripts detailing the empire's grandeur, the tomb itself has eluded all searches. Satellite imagery has identified promising sediment shifts near the Niger River, but the Sahara guards its secrets fiercely. Sandstorms erase landmarks, and shifting dunes bury entrances as quickly as they're uncovered. What makes Africa's undiscovered catacombs so compelling isn't just the potential for gold or artifacts, it's the chance to reclaim narratives. Colonial looting and biased record-keeping erased swaths of the continent's history, leaving gaps that only archaeology can fill. Every unopened tomb is a time capsule, preserving voices silenced by time and prejudice. With new technologies like LIDAR and isotope analysis, the next decade could unveil royal burials that redefine our understanding of trade, power, and innovation in ancient Africa. Until then, the Earth keeps its counsel, whispering of kings who still rule from the shadows. The air grows heavy when the seal of an ancient tomb cracks open, not just with dust, but with whispers of a warning left behind. The so-called Curse of the Pharaohs isn't just Hollywood theatrics, it's a thread woven through the fabric of archaeology itself. When Howard Carter's team first breached Tutankhamun's burial chamber in 1922, the world thrilled at the golden treasures within. But then came the stories, financier Lord Carnarvon dying mysteriously from an infected mosquito bite, others in the expedition meeting untimely ends. Newspapers spun tales of a curse carved into the tomb's walls, though no such inscription was ever found. Yet the question lingers, why do these patterns emerge around so many royal burial sites? Look beyond Egypt and the pattern repeats. In the 1980s, archaeologists working in the Valley of the Kings reported equipment failures, sudden illnesses, and vivid nightmares after handling certain artifacts. One team member swore they heard whispers in ancient Egyptian when no one else was nearby. Skeptics argue these are coincidences, dust-borne pathogens, stress, or the power of suggestion. But consider the precision of the warnings left behind. The Mesopotamians inscribed clay tablets threatening eternal hunger upon grave robbers. The Romans buried lead curse tablets near tombs, invoking gods to punish trespassers. These weren't idle threats, they were legal contracts with the divine, meant to be as binding as any earthly law. Science offers its own explanations. Sealed tombs can harbor toxic molds like Aspergillus flavus, which grows on decaying organic matter and attacks the lungs, the infamous Tutankhamun's curse victims. Many were already in frail health, exposed to stagnant air thick with spores after centuries of confinement. Then there's radiation. Some granite tombs emit trace radon gas, while others contain uranium-based pigments in their wall paints. But even these rational theories don't account for the psychological weight of disturbing the dead. Anthropologists point to a universal human unease, the sense that some boundaries once crossed carry intangible consequences. Perhaps the most compelling evidence isn't in the curses themselves, but in their persistence. From the Incas' belief that looters would be struck by the vengeance of the ancestors, to medieval European tales of knights falling ill after plundering crypts, these stories span continents and eras. They speak to something deeper than superstition, a collective understanding that the dead demand respect. Modern archaeologists now often perform rituals before excavations, from offering tobacco in Native American burial sites to reciting prayers in Byzantine catacombs. Not because they fear curses, but because they recognize the power of tradition. So is the curse real? In a way, it doesn't matter. The tombs themselves seem to enforce their own protection through biology, psychology, or something beyond our understanding. What's undeniable is this: when we stand at the threshold of these hidden chambers, we're not just facing the past, we're facing the weight of our own choices and the unshakable sense that some doors, once opened, change us in ways we can't predict. Archaeology has entered a new golden age, not with shovels and brushes, but with machines that peer through time itself. Ground-penetrating radar pulses electromagnetic waves into the earth, mapping hidden voids and structures like an X-ray for history. In the dense jungles of Guatemala, LiDAR lasers stripped away centuries of vegetation to reveal entire Mayan cities, pyramids, roads, and palaces swallowed by the rainforest. Now, these same technologies are turning their gaze to the tombs of forgotten rulers, peeling back layers of soil and stone without disturbing a single grain. Take the Valley of the Kings, where scans in 2015 detected anomalies behind Tutankhamun's burial chamber, a discovery that reignited theories of Nefertiti's hidden tomb. Or consider the plains of Xi'an, where muon tomography, a technique borrowed from particle physics, is probing the depths around Emperor Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum, searching for uncharted chambers beneath the terracotta army. These tools don't just find walls, they detect subtle density changes, hinting at artifacts, burial goods, or even the organic remains of the dead themselves. But the real revolution lies in what's coming next. AI now combs through satellite imagery, flagging unnatural patterns in terrain that human eyes might miss: a slight depression in a field, a faint rectangular outline in the desert. In Turkey, drones equipped with thermal cameras identified a previously unknown underground complex near Mount Ararat, its heat signatures suggesting man-made tunnels. And then there's quantum sensing, a fledgling technology that could one day detect magnetic fields disrupted by buried metals, making it possible to see golden sarcophagi or iron relics through dozens of feet of rock. The implications are staggering. Imagine mapping the entire necropolis of Thebes from orbit, or using augmented reality to walk through virtual reconstructions of sealed tombs before they're ever opened. These tools also offer a lifeline to at-risk sites. In war-torn regions or areas threatened by climate change, rapid digital scanning preserves endangered heritage before it's lost forever. Yet for all their power, these technologies raise ethical questions. Should we disturb resting places if we can? Can virtual exploration replace physical excavation, or does science still need to hold history in its hands? One thing's certain: the Earth's hidden chambers are running out of places to hide. As the machines grow sharper, the shadows where kings sleep grow thinner, and the next great discovery might be just one scan away. Digging into the past isn't just about uncovering artifacts, it's about confronting uncomfortable questions. Who really owns history? When does curiosity cross the line into intrusion? For decades, archaeologists have wrestled with these ethical dilemmas, especially when it comes to royal tombs. On one side, there's the undeniable value of discovery. Take the tomb of Philip Roman II of Macedon, unearthed in northern Greece in the 1970s. Without excavation, we might never have confirmed his identity or understood the intricate gold wreath and armor that reshaped our view of ancient Macedonian royalty. But on the other side, there's the weight of tradition. In Peru, the descendants of the Inca still consider many burial sites sacred, and the idea of disturbing them for study feels like a violation. The debate often centers on consent. These rulers never agreed to have their remains displayed in museums or analyzed in labs. The Egyptian pharaohs, for instance, meticulously prepared for eternity, sealing themselves away with spells meant to protect their journey to the afterlife. Breaking those seals, some argue, is a breach of their final wishes. Indigenous communities worldwide echo this sentiment. In Australia, Aboriginal elders have successfully petitioned to repatriate ancestral remains taken from burial mounds by 19th century collectors. For them, it's not just about respect, it's about healing. The dead, they believe, hold a spiritual connection to the living, and disturbing that bond can bring imbalance. Yet the counterargument is compelling. Without excavation, history's secrets might stay buried forever. The terracotta warriors of Xi'an would still lie beneath farmers' fields if not for the shovel that struck them in 1974. The same goes for the recent discovery of a Maya ceremonial cave in Mexico, its walls covered in untouched murals that rewrite our understanding of their rituals. Archaeology, proponents argue, isn't grave robbery, it's preservation. Tombs left unstudied are vulnerable to looters, climate change, or even urban expansion. The real disrespect, they claim, is letting these sites crumble unseen. Technology offers a middle ground. Non-invasive tools like LiDAR and ground-penetrating radar allow researchers to map tombs without breaking ground. In Turkey, scans of Mount Nemrut revealed hidden chambers beneath the colossal statues of King Antiochus, all while leaving the site physically undisturbed. Virtual reconstructions can even let the public explore tombs digitally, as with the scanned interiors of Egypt's Seti I's burial chamber. But purists argue this isn't enough. You can't analyze DNA through a computer screen or test ancient pigments without samples. The question lingers: whose rights matter more, the dead, their descendants, or the global community hungry for knowledge? Perhaps the answer lies in collaboration. In New Zealand, Maori tribes work alongside archaeologists to study ancestral burial sites, ensuring traditions guide the process. In Scandinavia, Viking descendants approve excavations but insist on reburial after research. These partnerships prove that respect and discovery aren't mutually exclusive. The past doesn't belong to any one group. It's a shared inheritance, and its guardianship demands nuance. After all, the dead may be silent, but how we treat them speaks volumes about who we are. The names of these tomb hunters echo through history like whispers in a crypt. Giovanni Belzoni, the towering former circus strongman who became one of Egypt's most relentless explorers. In 1817, armed with little more than brute strength and unshakable determination, he hacked his way into the tomb of Seti I in the Valley of the Kings, uncovering a burial chamber so vast and ornate it stunned Europe. But Belzoni's story wasn't one of scholarly pursuit. It was a saga of obsession. He slept in tombs, battled rival treasure hunters, and once escaped a collapsing tunnel by inches, his hands bloodied from clawing through rubble. What drove him? Partly greed. Yes, the era's museums paid handsomely for artifacts, but also something deeper. The intoxicating thrill of being the first to lay eyes on a world untouched for millennia. Then there's Howard Carter, whose name is forever tied to Tutankhamun's glittering tomb. Unlike Belzoni's rough and tumble exploits, Carter was meticulous, spending years mapping the Valley of the Kings before his patron Lord Carnarvon's funding nearly ran out. When a workboy stumbled upon that fateful step in 1922, Carter didn't rush in. He waited weeks to assemble witnesses, chiseling a tiny hole and holding a candle to the darkness. The flickering light revealed wonderful things: gold, statues, a throne, but the discovery came at a cost. Carnarvon's mysterious death fueled curse legends, and Carter himself became a recluse, haunted by the weight of what he'd unleashed. His notebooks reveal a man torn between triumph and guilt, scribbling, "Did I do right?" beside sketches of fragile artifacts, but not all seekers were fortune hunters. Take Antoinette Powell Cotton, a British explorer who documented Ethiopia's Aksumite tombs in the 1930s. At a time when women were barred from academic expeditions, she disguised herself as a man to gain access to sacred sites, sketching burial chambers with an artist's precision. Her journals reveal no interest in treasure, only a hunger to understand the rituals that bound the living and the dead. She died of malaria in her 30s, her work nearly forgotten, proving that the pursuit of knowledge could be as perilous as the hunt for gold. The common thread: these explorers weren't just digging for objects, they were chasing ghosts. Belzoni sought validation, Carter yearned for legacy, Powell Cotton craved understanding. Their stories remind us that every tomb is a mirror, reflecting not just the past but the passions of those who dare to open it. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson. The dead may rest in silence, but their discoverers' voices, reckless, reverent, or remorseful, echo long after the dust settles. Some tombs refuse to be found, guarding their secrets with the same fierce determination as the rulers they shelter. Take Genghis Khan, the conqueror who built an empire stretching from the Pacific to the Caspian Sea, yet whose final resting place remains one of history's great vanishing acts. According to legend, his funeral procession slaughtered every witness along the route, then diverted a river to bury him beneath its bed. 8 centuries later, expeditions armed with satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar still scour the Mongolian steppes, chasing whispers of a hidden valley where the grass grows unnaturally green. But the Earth keeps its silence. Perhaps the answer lies not in technology, but in respecting the Mongol tradition of silent veneration, that some truths are meant to stay buried. Then there's Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, whose tomb has eluded discovery despite tantalizing clues. The ancient historian Plutarch wrote that she and Mark Antony were buried together in a lofty and beautiful mausoleum near Alexandria, their remains surrounded by treasures fit for gods. For years, archaeologists focused on Taposiris Magna, a temple complex where a team recently uncovered a tunnel stretching deep underground, its walls carved with Ptolemaic symbols. Yet the chamber at its end remains sealed, leaving us to wonder, could this be the lost vault or just another false lead in a 2,000-year-old mystery? The irony is palpable, a queen who meticulously crafted her own legend, only to have the final chapter of her story erased by time. The question isn't just where these tombs are hidden, it's why they've stayed hidden. Some, like Genghis Khan's, were concealed by design, their locations erased to prevent desecration. Others fell victim to nature's relentless reclamation. The tomb of Alexander the Great, once a pilgrimage site in ancient Alexandria, was likely swallowed by earthquakes or rising seas, its exact location now debated in academic circles. And then there's the sheer scale of the search. The tomb of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, is famously guarded by his terracotta army, but the main burial mound remains unexcavated, partly out of respect, partly because the technology to preserve its contents doesn't yet exist. What makes these unsolved cases so gripping is the possibility that they might never be solved. For every Tutankhamun whose tomb was found nearly intact, there are a dozen rulers whose graves may have crumbled to dust or lie beneath modern cities forever beyond reach. Yet the hunt continues, driven by equal parts scholarship and obsession. New tools like muon tomography, which can peer through solid rock, or AI that deciphers ancient texts for hidden clues, offer fresh hope. But sometimes the past's greatest gift is its mystery, the reminder that even in our age of satellites and algorithms, some stories are still waiting in the dark. Golden masks and jade suits are just the beginning. The treasures pulled from royal catacombs aren't merely decorations. They're time machines, transporting us into the minds of civilizations long gone. Take Tutankhamun's burial chamber, where every object served a purpose. His golden mask wasn't just a portrait, it was a conduit for the soul, its inlaid lapis lazuli and quartz mimicking the night sky to guide the young pharaoh to the afterlife. Nearby, alabaster jars held his preserved organs, while a dagger forged from meteorite iron spoke of interstellar connections in an age before telescopes. These weren't grave goods, they were survival kits for eternity. Halfway across the world, China's Han emperors took a different approach. Their jade burial suits, woven with gold thread, were designed to defy decay entirely. Jade was believed to possess mystical properties cool to the touch. It symbolized purity and immortality. When archaeologists unearthed the suit of Prince Liu Sheng in 1968, they found over 2,000 plaques of nephrite jade meticulously tied together, a literal second skin meant to protect him in the afterlife. But here's the twist: despite their grandeur, these suits failed to stop tomb robbers. Most were stripped of their gold thread centuries ago, leaving behind scattered jade tiles like broken puzzles. Then there are the quieter treasures, objects that reveal intimate details of daily life. In the royal tombs of excavators found Queen Puobi's elaborate headdress, its gold leaves and lapis beads still clinging to the shape of her skull after 4,000 years. Nearby lay her silver lyre, its bull-headed ornament frozen mid-roar, a reminder that music was as vital in death as in life. Even the humblest items carry weight. The wooden sandals buried with Egyptian pharaohs, worn smooth by palace floors, or the dried figs left in Macedonian tombs, their sweetness preserved as an offering. These aren't just artifacts, they're echoes of personal routines frozen in time. The real question isn't just what we've found, it's what's still missing. Historical texts hint at legendary losses: Cleopatra's pearl earrings dissolved in vinegar as a bet, or the library of the Moscow Tsars, said to be hidden beneath the Kremlin with illuminated manuscripts and jeweled icons. Some treasures may still lie undisturbed, like the rumored Sun Vault of the Inca, where solid gold statues of rulers were said to kneel before a golden sun disk. Others might be right under our noses, hidden behind false walls in known tombs or mislabeled in museum storerooms, their true significance overlooked. What makes these objects so captivating isn't their monetary value, though that's staggering. It's the stories they carry. A cracked perfume bottle from a queen's vanity tells us about trade routes connecting Egypt to the Indus Valley. A child's toy buried with a prince reveals how grief transcends time, and every undiscovered artifact is a promise that history isn't finished speaking, and the next shovel stroke could rewrite everything we thought we knew. Beneath the weight of stone and earth, ancient civilizations built more than tombs. They crafted sacred pathways for the soul's final journey. The catacombs of Egypt, for instance, weren't just burial chambers. They were intricate maps of the Duat, the perilous underworld where the dead faced trials before reaching the afterlife. Walls were inscribed with spells from the Book of the Dead, each hieroglyph a lifeline to guide pharaohs past demons and through gates guarded by fire. Even the positioning of sarcophagi mattered. Their heads often pointed north, aligning with celestial patterns believed to mirror the god's path across the sky. This wasn't mere tradition, it was spiritual engineering, ensuring rulers had the tools to conquer death itself. Christian catacombs carried similar weight, though their symbolism was cloaked in secrecy. In Rome's underground labyrinths, simple fish symbols or shepherd carvings weren't just art, they were coded messages of resurrection. The catacombs of Saint Sebastian, for example, held bodies arranged like sleepers in dormitories, reflecting the belief that death was temporary slumber before awakening in paradise. Even the tunnel's twists served a purpose, mirroring the biblical narrow path to salvation. For persecuted early Christians, these hidden passages weren't just practical, they were theological statements proving faith could flourish even in darkness. The Maya took this concept further, blending architecture with cosmology. Their rulers were buried in pyramids designed as portals to Xibalba, the underworld. At Palenque, King Pakal's tomb lay beneath a pyramid aligned with the winter solstice sun, its descent into the earth symbolizing his journey among the stars. The lid of his sarcophagus showed him falling into the jaws of the underworld, not as an end, but as rebirth. Every step into these tombs was a ritual, every corridor a chapter in a celestial story. What's striking is how these beliefs dictated secrecy. Egyptian tombs employed false doors and decoy chambers to confuse thieves, but also to mislead malevolent spirits. The Inca sealed royal mummies in mountain caves, accessible only via treacherous ropes, ensuring only the worthy could commune with ancestors. Even the Vikings buried ships underground, their proverbs warning, "A grave hidden is a grave honored." The message was clear. These spaces weren't just for the dead, they were bridges between worlds, too sacred to be left unguarded. The irony, in trying to protect eternity, many cultures left clues for modern seekers. Christian catacombs art became a blueprint for medieval iconography. Egyptian spells evolved into early medical texts. The very symbols meant to conceal now reveal, reminding us that death, for all its mystery, has always been humanity's most honest architect. The sheer scale of these underground marvels defies logic. How did ancient builders carve vast networks of tunnels and chambers with nothing but primitive tools and human labor? Consider the catacombs beneath Paris, where workers excavated nearly 200 miles of tunnels by hand, removing enough limestone to construct a small city. Without hydraulic drills or reinforced scaffolding, they relied on simple chisels and brute strength, yet their creations have stood for centuries. Even more impressive are the hidden safety features woven into these structures. The Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni in Malta, a 3-level underground temple carved 5,000 years ago, includes sophisticated acoustic chambers where voices resonate at specific frequencies, possibly designed for ritual chants. Its builders also incorporated ventilation shafts so precise that fresh air still circulates today, despite being buried beneath 40 feet of bedrock. Then there's the problem of structural integrity. In Cappadocia, Turkey, entire underground cities like Derinkuyu descend 18 levels deep, housing 20,000 people at their peak. The secret to their stability: volcanic rock, soft enough to carve yet hardened when exposed to air, creating natural reinforcement. Builders engineered round doors that rolled shut to block invaders, staircases with uneven steps to slow attackers, and even wells tapped into underground rivers to outlast sieges. These weren't just tunnels, they were fortresses disguised as geology. The real stroke of genius, though, lies in the illusions. Egyptian tomb architects employed false passageways and decoy burial chambers to mislead thieves. In the labyrinthine catacombs of el-Shukoffa in Alexandria, a circular staircase spirals around a central shaft used to lower sarcophagi, a design so clever that early explorers walked right past hidden side chambers for decades. Some builders took deception further. The mausoleum of the first Qin emperor reportedly boasted rivers of mercury and crossbows rigged to fire automatically, though modern archaeologists debate whether these were physical traps or psychological warfare meant to terrify intruders. What unites these feats is their creators' intimate understanding of materials and environment. Roman engineers mixed volcanic ash into concrete to prevent cracks, while Inca stonemasons shaped blocks so precisely that their mortarless walls withstand earthquakes. These techniques weren't just practical, they were sacred. Aligning tombs with solstice sunbeams or celestial events turned architecture into astronomy, binding the fate of the dead to the cosmos. Today's engineers still study these designs, marveling at how ancient minds solved problems we'd struggle with even now. The next time you walk over a subway tunnel or basement, remember, beneath your feet could lie innovations older than empires, waiting to whisper their secrets to those who listen. Conspiracy theories have always clung to the shadows of archaeology like cobwebs in an ancient crypt, persistent, intricate, and often unsettling. Among the most enduring is the idea that certain royal tombs aren't merely lost, but deliberately concealed by those in power. Take the Vatican's secret archives, a labyrinthine repository of historical documents rumored to hold maps to undiscovered burial sites of biblical kings, or even the remains of controversial religious figures. While the Vatican has permitted limited access to scholars over the years, the sheer volume of unindexed material fuels speculation. Could there be truth to claims that certain discoveries are suppressed to protect religious narratives or maintain political influence? The archive's very secrecy, whether practical or intentional, becomes fertile ground for theories that blur the line between fact and fantasy. Then there's the tantalizing case of Nazi loot hidden in forgotten tombs. Near the end of World War II, as Allied forces closed in, high-ranking officers allegedly stashed stolen treasures in underground bunkers, caves, and even repurposed medieval crypts. Some theorists insist that among these caches were artifacts plundered from royal graves, Egyptian funerary masks, Slavic burial hoards, or even the long-lost Amber Room of Russia. The discovery of Nazi-era documents referencing burial sites in the Austrian Alps or Polish salt mines only deepens the intrigue. But here's the catch: for every verified stash, like the gold train rumored to lie beneath Wolbazich, there are a dozen dead ends. The obsession with Nazi secrets has spawned countless treasure hunts, yet the line between documented history and sensational myth remains frustratingly thin. Even modern governments face accusations of cover-ups. In Egypt, whispers persist that the Supreme Council of Antiquities controls or conceals key discoveries to manage tourism, revenue, or national pride. When radar scans suggested hidden chambers in Tutankhamun's tomb, some theorists claimed officials delayed further exploration to avoid overshadowing other museum exhibits. Meanwhile, in China, the unopened mound of Qin Shi Huang has sparked similar debates. Is preservation the real motive, or is there fear of what the tomb might reveal about the nation's early dynasties? Skeptics argue that bureaucracy, not conspiracy, explains these delays. Excavating such sites requires staggering resources and irreversible decisions. But in the absence of transparency, speculation thrives. What makes these theories so compelling isn't just their audacity, but the grain of truth they often twist. Yes, institutions protect secrets. Yes, artifacts have been hoarded or destroyed for political gain. But the leap from documented secrecy to grand concealment of royal tombs requires more imagination than evidence. The reality is usually less dramatic: disorganization, funding shortages, or the slow grind of academic verification. Still, the persistence of these tales speaks to something deeper: our collective suspicion that history isn't just written by the victors, but sometimes buried with them. Whether fact or fiction, they remind us that every undiscovered tomb holds two possibilities: a forgotten king's remains or a story someone doesn't want told. The future of uncovering lost tombs isn't just about luck. It's a race between advancing technology and the relentless march of time. Right now, teams armed with LiDAR scanners are peeling back the dense canopy of the Amazon, revealing earthworks and structures that hint at civilizations we've barely begun to understand. In Brazil's Acre state, geometric patterns etched into the forest floor suggest vast ceremonial centers, and where there are monuments, there are almost certainly elite burials. Could the next great discovery be the tomb of an Amazonian king, surrounded by feather crowns and caches of sacred greenstone? The region's acidic soil makes organic preservation unlikely, but gold, ceramics, and stone artifacts could survive, waiting to rewrite our understanding of pre-Columbian empires. Meanwhile, the Sahara's shifting sands guard secrets of their own. Satellite imagery has exposed the outlines of buried settlements along ancient trade routes, some dating back to the Garamantes, a desert kingdom that flourished when Rome ruled the Mediterranean. Their rulers were said to be buried in pyramid-like structures, smaller than Egypt's but no less significant. With drones and ground-penetrating radar, archaeologists are mapping these sites, chasing whispers of a royal necropolis hidden beneath the dunes. The real challenge: the desert is unforgiving. Sandstorms erase progress overnight, and political instability in regions like Libya and Sudan makes excavation perilous. But the potential payoff: a perfectly preserved Berber or Nubian king's tomb, untouched for millennia, is worth the risk. Then there's the ocean, Earth's greatest keeper of secrets. Off the coast of Egypt, the sunken city of Thonis Heraclean has already yielded temples and statues, but its royal quarters and any tombs they contain remain elusive. Marine archaeologists now suspect similar cities lie submerged along the Indian Ocean's ancient trade routes, where monsoon winds swallowed ships and ports whole. Imagine uncovering a Sri Lankan monarch's underwater mausoleum, its walls adorned with coral-encrusted frescoes, or the lost tomb of a Phoenician prince, hidden beneath Mediterranean waves since the Bronze Age. New robotic submersibles and 3D mapping tools are turning these fantasies into plausible missions, probing depths that were once unreachable. But the most tantalizing targets might be right under our noses. Urban archaeology, digging beneath modern cities, has revealed surprises like London's Temple of Mithras or Rome's Domus Aurea. Now, researchers are eyeing Istanbul's Byzantine layers, Mexico City's Aztec foundations, and even the basements of Cairo's bustling neighborhoods. Who's to say a pharaoh's undisturbed sarcophagus doesn't lie beneath a parking lot, like Richard Roman III skeleton in Leicester? The key is collaboration, pairing historians with construction crews, using every new subway line or high-rise foundation as a chance to peek into the past. The next decade won't just bring new discoveries, it'll redefine how we search. AI now sifts through satellite data, flagging promising sites faster than any human could. Portable DNA sequencers can analyze bone fragments on site, tracing royal lineages in real time. and as climate change melts glaciers and dries lakes, it's exposing sites we never knew existed, from Viking burials in Norway to Inca sacrificial platforms in the Andes. The question isn't whether we'll find another legendary tomb, it's which civilization's lost ruler will speak first, and what they'll tell us about the world they once ruled. You don't need a degree or a shovel to help uncover history's greatest mysteries. Some of the most exciting discoveries in archaeology are happening thanks to everyday enthusiasts armed with curiosity and modern tools. Imagine scanning satellite images from your laptop and spotting an unusual earthwork pattern that leads experts to a forgotten burial mound. That's exactly what happened in 2016, when a volunteer for Global Explorer, an online platform founded by archaeologist Sarah Parkak, flagged anomalies in Peru's terrain. Those markings turned out to be potential Nazca-era sites, proving that anyone with an internet connection can contribute to real breakthroughs. Platforms like Zooniverse and Terra Watchers let you sift through drone footage or LiDAR data, tagging anything unusual for professionals to investigate further. It's like a global treasure hunt where every pair of eyes increases the chance of finding something extraordinary. For those who prefer hands-on exploration, 3D modeling has opened doors to virtual archaeology. Museums worldwide are digitizing artifacts and burial sites, inviting the public to help reconstruct broken pottery or map tomb layouts from uploaded photos. The University of California's MicroPasts project, for instance, crowdsourced 3D models of Bronze Age artifacts, piecing together fragments that might have taken years to analyze otherwise. Even gaming technology plays a role. Enthusiasts using tools like SketchUp or Blender have recreated lost temples and tombs, sometimes stumbling upon architectural clues that historians missed. One amateur modeler working on a digital reconstruction of Angkor Wat noticed an alignment between a hidden corridor and the summer solstice sunrise, a detail that reshaped theories about the temple's ceremonial use. Drones have democratized aerial surveys, once the exclusive domain of well-funded expeditions. Affordable consumer drones equipped with thermal cameras can reveal buried structures invisible to the naked eye, like the outlines of ancient walls or disturbed soil marking potential grave sites. In Ireland, a group of hobbyists mapping fairy forts, medieval ring forts, accidentally discovered a previously unknown passage tomb when their drone's infrared sensor picked up heat signatures from subterranean chambers. Universities now often collaborate with local drone clubs, offering training sessions on how to capture data for archaeological surveys. But perhaps the most accessible way to contribute is through documentation. Historical societies and archaeology teams rely on volunteers to transcribe old excavation journals, translate inscriptions, or catalog artifacts in museum basements. A single handwritten note from an early 20th century dig might hold the key to relocating a lost tomb entrance or identifying a mislabeled artifact. Projects like the Smithsonian's Transcription Center have digitized thousands of field notes, with volunteers uncovering everything from forgotten burial records to sketches of undiscovered sites. The next big discovery could come from anywhere. A farmer noticing odd stone arrangements in a field, a hiker photographing peculiar carvings on a cliff face, or a student poring over satellite maps after class. History isn't just found in textbooks, it's hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to look a little closer. And with technology shrinking the gap between experts and enthusiasts, the golden age of amateur archaeology isn't behind us, it's just beginning. From the sands of Egypt to the jungles of South America, these hidden catacombs aren't just resting places for the dead, they're time capsules, preserving the ambitions, fears, and brilliance of civilizations long gone. Every tunnel, every sealed chamber, every artifact left behind is a puzzle piece in humanity's grand story, waiting to shift our understanding of history itself. Think about it. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb rewrote what we knew about ancient Egypt's artistry and trade. The terracotta warriors of Xi'an revealed the staggering scale of Qin Shi Huang's power. And who's to say the next untouched burial site won't append another chapter of our past? What's truly remarkable is how these sites defy time. While empires rise and fall, languages fade, and borders shift, the catacombs remain silent witnesses to the rulers who dreamed of eternity. The pharaohs who lined their tombs with gold, the Viking kings buried in their ships, the Inca emperors hidden in mountain peaks, they all shared one belief: that memory could conquer oblivion. And in a way, they were right. Though their names might have been forgotten for centuries, their tombs eventually brought them back to us, their stories echoing across millennia. But the search is far from over. With every technological leap, LiDAR scanning, AI analysis, quantum sensing, we're peeling back layers of earth and legend, inching closer to answers. Will we find Nefertiti's lost tomb or Genghis Khan's elusive grave? Could the next breakthrough come from a drone scan, a satellite image, or even an amateur explorer's keen eye? The excitement lies in the unknown. Each discovery doesn't just fill a gap in history, it reminds us how much we still have to learn. So as we step back into the light, leaving the shadows of these underground worlds behind, remember, history isn't a static record. It's a living, breathing mystery, reshaped with every shovel of dirt, every radar pulse, every faded inscription deciphered. The past is still speaking, if we're willing to listen. And who knows, the next time you walk over a city street or hike through a remote valley, you might just be standing above a king's forgotten chamber, waiting for its moment to be found. The adventure isn't over, it's only just begun. If this journey through the buried realms of lost rulers has sparked your curiosity, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries, and let us know in the comments which undiscovered tomb do you think holds the most tantalizing secrets. The conversation doesn't end here. After all, the next legendary catacomb could be uncovered tomorrow, and you'll want a front row seat